Hey, this is Scotty from the Gifford Group, and today I just want to record a little video on VA loans and why they're such a great tool. So first off, I want to say thank you to all the veterans out there. If you are a veteran and you have served our country, I appreciate it so much, because without people like yourselves, we would not have and be in this great country we are in with all the freedoms we get to enjoy. So I just want to say a big thank you to all the veterans out there. So let's quickly dive into why VA loans are such a great tool to be using, and we'll look at all the benefits and some of the myths about why people might not be using them. All right, I just want to dispel some of the myths associated with VA loans. Some people think that the interest rates are going to be higher because you're getting a loan through the VA, and that's just not the case. Let's jump into some of the reasons why you should be using your VA benefit to get a loan. First thing that you need to know about the VA loan is that there is ability to get 100% of your loan to value put down. So if you are buying, say, a $300,000 house, you could get a loan for $300,000. Zero down payment required. Now, obviously, there are going to be closing costs associated with getting the loan, and there's probably going to be a VA funding fee associated with getting this loan, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you can truly get a loan to value of 100% or even a little bit higher than 100%, depending on your if you have some disability. All right, the second reason to look into using a VA loan is that there are some of the credit requirements are a little bit not as stringent with the VA loan. So ability to maybe get a loan with your credit score not being as high compared to some other types of loans where you might have a certain requirement to get that type of loan. So it's definitely something you want to check into if you do have challenge credit and you are a veteran. All right, the third reason why you might want to check out using a VA loan, and this is a big one, is that there is no PMI insurance. There is no private mortgage insurance required on a VA loan. So when you're borrowing on a loan and you're putting down less than the 20% down, you would have this thing called private mortgage insurance that's going to help protect the lender in case you default. Where a VA loan, you are actually able to borrow, like say, up to 100%. You can choose to put a down payment if you wish to. You can put down 3.5%, 5%, 10%, whatever, but you don't have to. And that's the great ability to, and that's what we talk about in other videos. Like, getting into a home is one of the great ways to build wealth in America here, because the home is appreciating asset and will usually appreciates over time. Not always, but 90% of the time it's going to appreciate for you, right? So it's definitely something to, and it gives you a place to live in, which you're going to have to live in somewhere anyway. So the fact that you are able to put down very little or all the way down to zero without having to pay private mortgage insurance is one of the biggest benefits of the VA loan. The fourth reason why you should look into using a VA loan is because there are limits on what the lenders can charge veterans when originating a loan. So due to that reason, you do know that you are getting one of the cheapest loans around as far as like cost associated with originating that loan. So it's just definitely something to at least cross compare to maybe more conventional or an FHA loan type, so that you can see what benefits you would have. And on the giffordgroup.net, we do have a buying cost calculator you can check out. I'll link to it below, where you can look at, hey, if you're doing a VA or FHA or conventional, and it kind of tells you how much cash you would need to close on those loans, so you can see what that is. Then it also calculates what your payment would be based on how much you're putting down or not, and interest rate. So definitely something to check out. All right, the fifth reason to look into VA loan is that if you are disabled, you might be able to, if you're 100% disabled, you probably get a 100% waive of that VA funding fee. So the VA funding fee is what allows you to not have the private mortgage insurance, and what allows the Veterans Program to keep going. So usually you're charged about 2%, maybe 2.31. I'll put the numbers on the screen here. And those numbers can vary depending on how much you are putting down and if you've used your entitlement before. And like I say, on our calculator, I just mentioned on the Gifford Group, the buying cost calculator does take that into account. Depending on your down payment wise, it'll calculate the funding fee for you, so you can see how much that funding fee is. So at least, but if you are 100% disabled, that funding fee just goes away and is down to zero. So definitely something to be aware of. And we're rolling to number 6. If you are 100% disabled, especially here in Texas, you do get you get to remove all your property taxes. They go down to zero. You are fully exempt from the property taxes, and then that allows you to actually stay in a home cheaper than you would be, say, an apartment, probably, because there's no property taxes being paid. You just have your mortgage and your insurance each month that you need to cover, and there's no property taxes associated with that, and there's no PMI. So definitely help you get into a home. As a benefit of being a veteran, you get into a home cheaper than an ordinary person. All right, one more reason that why you might want to check out a VA loan is that there is no cap on the amount of loans you can get, right? So there's no upper limit. So sometimes if we get into jumbo territories, and I'll put the exact number for the jumbo territory where you actually are required to put down 20%. So if you're going over that loan value because you're buying a home that's more expensive, sometimes you're required to put down more money and have more money available when you get into jumbo territory. So a VA loan does not have a cap, so you can purchase a higher home with less money down, which then allows you to build more wealth. So definitely a great benefit. One thing I would be remiss if I didn't mention about the VA loan is that it is an owner-occupied loan only, so you do need to live in the home. Obviously, if you move into the home and after a year you decide to rent it out, you can keep your VA loan. Doesn't require you to come off, so you can keep the same loan. Just know that when you go to buy a second property, your VA entitlement is being used on the first property, so you won't be able to use it again unless you sell that home and buy it, and then re-up your benefit there, releasing it, and then allow you to use it again. So you need to live in the home if you're going to be using a VA loan. So let me just wrap up this video and say thank you so much for your service as veterans.